All right, Etsy sellers, this video is for anyone going through a rough patch. Anyone that maybe just got their Etsy account suspended or just going through something really unfortunate in their Etsy journey. Because business is a series of ups and downs, and the people who prevail are the ones that learn how to become the ultimate problem solvers and snap back when misfortunes happen or when bad things happen. And so in this video, I'm going to give you some perspective and I'm going to tell you all of the bad things that have ever happened to me in business. And this is not like, woo is me, poor Hannah, like that's not what we're getting at here. This is just like, I do this like when I'm like going through a hard time. I literally go on the internet and I go find someone's situation that's like worse than me to like make me feel better. So if you're that type of person, then this video, I got you. Unless your situation is worse than mine, then that sucks, and I'm sorry, but hopefully this gives you some comfort. But overall, in the past, I've learned that, like I said, the entrepreneurs that learn how to snap back when bad things happen, like that is a skill in itself, and it's really hard. It's like mental toughness. It builds mental toughness, and really, it's the people that don't get emotional and don't let it just kill their momentum when something bad happens. And I'm saying that out loud because I am super emotional and I take things personally, and everything that I'm saying that we got to do to be better entrepreneurs, I also do it. Hence why I preach it so much, because I have the same problem. So with that being said, let's go into the top things that have ever happened to me in business. We'll start with like the least worst thing and then we'll move it down to the worst thing. All right, so let's take it from the top. One time I had bought about 4,000 packages, like boxes to pack my goods, and the source that I had bought them from lined their boxes for whatever reason with some toxic lining, whatever they sealed the inside of these boxes with. So we were prepping all of our finished inventory and it damaged whatever chemical they were using inside their boxes, destroyed the product inside the box. So we, after packaging like 4,000 packages to prep them, every product was destroyed, compounded with dozens of negative reviews because we didn't realize that it was destroying the product until after it already got to the customers. It was really weird how they dealt with it because we wanted them to pay for all the damages, because not only did they like really hurt our store because we got a bunch of bad reviews, but we had all the damaged product and all the labor that went into prepping the product. So it was not a fun week, to say the least. So yeah, I would say that's the least worst problem that I've ever had. I would say out of all the bad things that's happened, that one was like, dang, that just really sucks. We've been stitched many times by getting sent inferior quality materials, just damaged materials when it comes to us, which that's happened. I can't even count on two hands how many times that's happened. But this one, like I said, really stung because there was so much work into prepping the products and finishing the products that it was just a lot of work and labor and stuff like that that just basically went to the garbage. The next one was we got robbed off our doorstep. So I originally had my office at my grandma's house, and when we finally moved out of my grandma's house, we got a real office, but our real office didn't have like a mail delivery place because it was just basically like outside in a parking lot. So we still got all of our raw materials shipped to my grandma's doorstep. And one night we left it out too long where we couldn't retrieve it in time, and all of the boxes got stolen. And we caught it all on camera. Like they didn't even care that there was like cameras there. So yeah, that was the last time that we ever let boxes sit out after dark. And yeah, they basically stole like quite a bit of raw materials, like thousands of dollars that would have yielded in the tens of thousands of dollars of revenue. Plus we pre-order things before we make it. So if we run out of stock of the raw material, we'll actually take pre-orders, and based off when the materials come in, we will tell our customers like, hey, you can pre-order this and we will get it to you on this date. And so basically we had to tell like dozens of people that like, yeah, their product wasn't coming. So pissed off a lot of customers and just put us back weeks and weeks and weeks in our production line basically. And by the way, guys, if you're currently going through something really unfortunate with Etsy, comment what it is down below. Maybe someone in the comment section can help you or give you advice because they've gone through something similar. Guys, just that's what the comment section's for, right? We're a community, we're supporting one another. So make sure you comment down below, and maybe, who knows, a miracle could happen, and maybe the right person will say the right thing that will help you get through it. All right, let's keep going into the video. Yeah, this one I was really, really mad about. Like, that one was hard to let go of because you just feel like so violated. There was that one. Okay, the third worst thing for me was learning how to manage employees. So when I first started making money and I was like, oh, okay, like I'm gonna expand my team, I was just so excited, and I completely approached hiring wrong. Like, I wanted to be the hero in everyone's story. I wanted to be the cool boss, and I wanted to be everyone's friend, and I wanted to change their lives and like inspire them. And so when I overhired of the sake of helping them and not for the sake of the business, which you would think is common sense, but for whatever reason, I don't know, I was just like, I'm gonna be their friend, I'm gonna be the cool boss, whatever. And that's just not the proper way on a high level to like manage people, and it completely backfired. I ran a super high payroll in 2021, just like an absurdly high payroll that was not necessary. I wasn't hiring on behalf of the business. Like, I did need help, but I wasn't qualifying people properly. And I also was trying to be their friend. And so for me, one of the most stressful things was basically, which I did this to myself, like this is my fault, was that I wanted to promise everyone the dream without any like accountability or expectation of at what level they should be performing at, right? And I also wasn't leading them as a true leader. It's kind of like you're promise peopling the world, but then you set no expectations, so they have no KPIs to what the expectation is, and then it comes times around to fulfill these promises, but you just expected them to perform on this high level, but they're really performing down here. So now like it just backfired on you basically because you just made all these promises that you don't want to give to them because, you know, you had this crazy expectation, but you didn't put systems or set standards for your business, and you just expected people to know what you want, if that makes sense. And so one of the things that kept me up at night the most, that probably caused me the most stress and anxiety, was like, wow, I really shot myself in the foot and I'm about to let all these people down and I don't know how to deal with it. And so what it comes down to when it comes to hiring and firing, there's got to be some sort of separation between business and a friendship, right? Them working for you is not a personal thing. When they do something wrong or you have to reprimand somebody, right? It's not supposed to be like personal between you and them. They're in your organization for a greater good that is growing an organization in the business, right? So if they're not performing or they're not meeting standards, well, one, first you have to set those standards and communicate those standards. But then two, if you do have to reprimand them, it's not coming from a personal place. It's coming from, we're in this room together working on the greater good for something else, right? This is bigger than us. This is for an organization. This is for the company, it's not our friendship, right? And that was something I had to learn the hard way. And so yeah, don't overpromise things to people until they prove themselves to you, but also you have to take accountability and properly set standards with anyone that enters your organization. And also one thing that, you know, in the beginning when you're hiring out of scarcity because you need help, you don't spend a lot of time qualifying people. But even in your earliest stages, I would say it's really important to anyone that steps foot in the door and is supposed to represent your business for you and work on behalf of your business, qualify them. Make sure they actually have the capacity, the will, and the want to actually, you know, work on behalf of this bigger organization, even if it's just someone packaging orders, right? Okay, and then finally, probably the worst thing that's ever happened to me in business, which was kind of a blessing in disguise, is I got suspended on Etsy for 9 months. And this is also due to a lack of leadership that I had. The suspension first happened because I had, it is my fault, but also Etsy did admit fault finally. But yeah, basically at the time when you would go into your Etsy searches, like what did the buyer search for in your Etsy stats or in your listing stats? Basically, Etsy would give you back a list of keywords of what the buyer searched for in the search query and why your listing showed up. And so what I taught the guy that was doing the SEO for me at the time was, hey, like if there's anomaly words of what the buyer searched for and you don't see those words in our titles and tags and descriptions, you know, common sense says, hey, we're getting a lot of searches on these words, put those words back into the listing. So he did exactly what I told him to do. The problem is what the buyer was searching for was a bunch of illegal keywords. So it's kind of Etsy too, because they were telling us, hey, hey, this is what the buyer's searching for. So he did what I said, and he took all these illegal keywords and he put them in the listing, and we got suspended that day. Yeah, so I didn't educate him properly on what illegal keywords were, but there's also a gray area there because what Etsy deems as illegal keywords is sometimes really cryptic, and like, how would you know that that's an illegal keyword? Like platinum, who wouldn't know, or smiley face. Okay, so there's definitely fault on both ends. And basically, we got suspended for 9 months, and I had to let people go because I couldn't pay anybody. But it was still a blessing in disguise because it forced us to get on Shopify, and we actually started scaling on Shopify and built out a proper Shopify engine. The margins, the profit margins were about half of what we were seeing on Etsy. So even though our revenue was about the same that next year, our profit margin was a lot less. Plus, I was making all that mistake with payroll. So I was running like a super high payroll, like absurdly high. That could have been a quarter of what I ended up paying out that year. That in the employees was probably the most stress and sleepless nights I've ever had. But in the grand scheme of things, you know, that was also, I call that my freshman year of business, right? Like right now, I feel like I'm in my like sophomore year of business. And you know, at the end of the day, I'm always going to be a student, you know, like there's always going to be more things to learn. And, you know, I always hope to hold that mentality as I'm growing in whatever venture I get involved in. But overall, guys, these were some of the craziest things that have ever happened to me in business. I'm really curious to hear what's going on currently with you. So make sure you comment those down below and subscribe to the channel because that helps me grow and also learn more about what your needs, wants, fears, and goals are as a business owner so I can help you and answer those questions as much as I can on the channel. So comment all of the things down below. All right, I'll see you in the next video.